A good afternoon to you and welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube at Metro TV Ghana, on Twitter and also on Instagram at Metro TV GH. Live from our studios here at Rich in Accra, the Akuya Boyoma studio. I am right, the Nakwesi Ameni and Desmond Okrekudanso is on standby with the latest stories from around the country. Desmond.
Thank you very much, Brian. It's time for some news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Hello again, it's now time for some news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. We'll take a look at our headlines this afternoon. Has $80 million in damages in a defamation lawsuit against former MP Kennedy Ejapon and Frederick Isiame. We'll tell you more in this bulletin. And also coming up this afternoon, 8 countries, 6 of them in Africa, including Nigeria, Kenya, and Lesotho, could soon run out of HIV drugs following the U.S. government's recent decision to pause foreign aid. We'll bring you details. And also coming up, residents of Glefe, a community within the Ablekuma West constituency of the Greater Accra region, are calling on the government to abolish the use of landfill sites in the country as waste disposal centers. Hello again, I am Desmond Okrekudanso. So let's get into the details of these stories. And President John Dramani Mahama has concluded a one-day official visit to his Sierra Leonean colleague, President Julius Maada Bio. Both presidents shared goodwill messages and engaged in discussions on the review of the existing bilateral relationship between the two countries, as well as regional and international matters of mutual interest. Now, the official visit of President Mahama to Sierra Leone underscores the deep historical and political bonds between the two nations.
It is a short working visit, but also in the spirit of African tradition to say thank you to my brother, President Maada Bio, for the honor he did me in graciously attending my investiture as president on the 7th of January 2025. And so, as we do in African tradition, I should have come the next morning to say thank you, but better late than never. I was busy putting the government into place, and today was the best opportunity. And we thank you for the kind hospitality. I think that President Maada Bio's report is very comprehensive. Indeed, we have discussed a broad range of issues, and one of the most important points we agreed on was to establish the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation as quickly as possible so that it becomes the institutional framework for us to build our cooperation on. There are many areas in which we can work together. And as he said, we discussed issues of agriculture and food security. We discussed issues of power and electricity, and how we can work together to enhance the West African power pool. We discuss issues of education and exchange, and we believe that the Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation is going to be the best avenue on which we can build this cooperation together. On sub-regional issues, as an old face but a new face in ECOWAS again, we discuss issues to do with the issue of terrorism and the issue of the current Alliance of Sahelian States and ECOWAS. And we compared notes because he had previously visited the 3 countries and I had just recently visited. So we compared notes, and we believe that it can form the basis for us to continue to cooperate as members of the same sub-region. He also briefed me on the effort that is being made to get a common African position on the issue of Security Council reform, and we are very much in support of the efforts that he has been making in that regard, and I pledge to him that we'll continue to work with him so that he can be the advocate for doing that. And so these were the major points of discussion. At the end of it, he gave me a meal of jollof rice, and it was very sumptuous. So I officially invited Sierra Leone to join Ghana and Nigeria in the jollof competition that we've been having. But we want to thank the Sierra Leonean people. I'm not new to Sierra Leone. I've done quite a lot of work here. I've been an election monitor here.
Still staying on the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, during his official visit to Sierra Leone, met with members of the Ghanaian community to commend their contributions and address their concerns. Speaking to the group, President Mahama conveyed the appreciation of Sierra Leone's president, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, for the peaceful and hard-working nature of Ghanaians living in the country.
Yes. Many presidents also akasa. Also on omonemo tidin also Ghana for mo ya there. Enti wa come from wa bom abaso. Permit no. Okay. No ni asemo. Yo, okay. Tax no so airport no
I am the P there, Abahana Boshayen. And I'm very much glad to see you. And I pray that day to day you will come as often as possible to come and check on us. I'm very, very much excited. So I'm kind of lost for words. But then in all, I thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like I said, President Bio says Ghanaians are peaceful. You're doing your work well, and I mean they live very peacefully with you. And so he actually praised the Ghanaian community, and that's why he said after our meeting I should come and meet with you and extend their appreciation for the work you're doing here. Yeah, the few issues you've raised about the permits and also about, you talked about tax or something. Tax. Okay, well, I'll try and raise it and see what progress we can make. Yeah, but well done.
Thank you.
Yes. God bless you. I will see you when you come home. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be looking forward.
You will take a photo? Yes. All right, bye.
And that was President John Dramani Mahama there speaking to the Ghanaian community in Sierra Leone as he visited the country. Now, away from that, access to quality healthcare is a fundamental right that every individual deserves. However, in Ghana, the focus seems to be more on improving access to healthcare facilities rather than ensuring the provision of quality healthcare services. This concern was raised by Professor Anthony Adofo-Ofosu, an associate professor at the University of Health and Allied Sciences. He called on government to shift attention to holistic delivery of comprehensive and quality healthcare services while also increasing the number of health facilities. There's more in this report.
Annual health performance reviews are critical for monitoring progress towards health sector goals, identifying areas for improvement, and ensuring accountability by providing evidence-based insights for policy and resource allocation decisions. The reviews help track the progress of health sector strategic plans and assess whether the implemented strategies are effective in addressing the intended results. According to Professor Anthony Adofo-Owusu, Associate Professor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, while efforts are being made to increase access to healthcare facilities in the country, the outcomes of quality healthcare are often compromised. He made these observations during the 2024 Volta Regional Health Annual Performance Review in Ho.
So when you look at the data, access we've done very well, but the outcomes are not good. The outcomes are not good because the underpinning quality is missing. And if we do this, you cannot do one and leave the other. And that's what I call the pendulum effect. We should stop the pendulum approach and invest in all the levels.
On his part, the Volta Regional Director of Health Services said recent assessment indicates that the region moved from a moderately performing region to a highly performing one in the holistic assessment category in terms of health delivery. He urged stakeholders to collaborate more effectively. Annual health performance reviews are critical for monitoring progress towards health sector goals, identifying areas for improvement, and ensuring accountability by providing evidence-based insights for policy and resource allocation decisions. The reviews help track the progress of health sector strategic plans and assess whether the implemented strategies are effective in addressing the intended results. According to Professor Anthony Adofo-Owusu, Associate Professor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, while efforts are being made to increase access to healthcare facilities in the country, the outcomes of quality healthcare are often compromised. He made these observations during the 2024 Volta Regional Health Annual Performance Review in Ho.
So when you look at the data, access we've done very well, but the outcomes are not good. The outcomes are not good because the underpinning quality is missing. And if we do this, you cannot do one and leave the other. And that's what I call the pendulum effect. We should stop the pendulum approach and invest in all the levels.
On his part, the Volta Regional Director of Health Services said recent assessment indicates that the region moved from a moderately performing region to a highly performing one in the holistic assessment category in terms of health delivery. He urged stakeholders to collaborate more effectively, leverage technology, and strengthen partnerships to sustain the gains and achieve greater milestones.
Our collective effort, we have been able to improve on our performance. Looking at the holistic assessment scores, we have moved from a moderately performing region to a highly performing region. And this is a great feat that is not just to be celebrated by the health workers, but all stakeholders who have contributed in diverse ways to ensure that we achieve this.
Volta Regional Minister James Gunu emphasized that quality healthcare involves not only the availability of medical services, but also the delivery of care that is safe, effective, patient-centered, timely, and equitable. He assured that the Volta Regional Coordinating Council will continue to provide its full support to the health sector to improve quality healthcare delivery.
Quality healthcare involves not only the availability of medical services, but also the delivery of care that is safe, effective, patient-centered, timely, efficient, and equitable. To improve healthcare quality indicators, we must improve the availability of medical supplies, leverage on technology, focus on training of our health workforce.
From health, we do education now in the Asante Hene Otumfo say to sue the second has urged government to enable gas supply through the Kumasi pipeline PPO2 at Awomaso to operationalize the 250 megawatts Kumasi 1 thermal power plant. Now speaking during a courtesy call by the Minister for Energy, John Jinapo, on Monday, Otumfo said the move will help meet rising demand for power in the Ashanti region. There's more in the following report as filed by our regional correspondent.
The Asante Hene in April 2024 joined President Akufo-Addo to commission the gas pipeline in the transmission of natural gas from Western Ghana to power major plants at the Awomaso bulk power supply station. However, the government failed to operationalize it. During a courtesy call on him on Monday by the Energy Minister, the Asante Hene urged him to make it a priority to operationalize the gas pipelines in the region to be able to receive gas from Atuabo to power plant at Awomaso. Otumfo believes that its operationalization will improve power supply in the region. Meanwhile, the power supply in Kumasi and the whole of Ashanti region has been unstable for quite a while due to an expansion project ongoing in the region. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapo, in his submission attributed the crisis to increasing demand in the region as well as defective transmission network, stressing that a 145 megavolt ampere transformer has been installed by the Ghana Grid Company Limited to double capacity.
Minister no esa me bana me bechia me papa na me de me ho behye nsa se adwuma ye no.
I am here to seek your blessings and wisdom because our line of work requires wisdom from our elders. We are aware of the challenges regarding power supply in the Ashanti region due to the rising demands. Gridco has successfully installed a new transformer which double capacity for a better supply. Is a transition that's causing the current supply challenges. But I can assure you that the work is done and supply will be stable. The presence here is to inform you about the situation and also send a first-hand report to the President. We are not shedding load.
MVA transformer, a replace near 63 no. The nature say more at double capacity no. Na etimiama.
Now we go to the Eastern region where today we're talking about Ghana's most iconic landmarks and the Adome Bridge, where history meets nature in a unique cultural experience is what we're talking about. But it's not just the bridge that draws visitors. Just nearby, the Adome Bridge Gardens offers a chance to connect with the region's rich wildlife, history and beauty. Join us as we explore how this hidden gem operates.
Nestled in the heart of Ghana, where the lush greenery of the eastern region meets the vast expanse of Volta Lake, stands the Adome Bridge. This iconic structure is not just a feat of engineering, but a bridge between history, culture, and community. But there's more to discover here than just the bridge. Just a stone's throw away, the Adome Bridge Gardens offer a peaceful escape into nature, managed by Kwame Ijare Bafo. The garden was created to enrich the experience of tourists who had previously only walked across the bridge and left.
One of the biggest Ghana tourist center, and Crawford a cry to me bad on the bridge. One abenante so sa woko a cry one shade baby papa bia infim we na ipusu me and Kenya me Emma the bomb modern year master behind of Sani and ye women and so bad on the bridge in so will be to me enya the good feel of the bridge.
The gardens feature animals native to the Volta Lake, offering a mini zoo experience. From playful monkeys to exotic birds, it is a place where visitors can connect with the wildlife of the region, making the visit more exciting and immersive. The Volta Lake, with over 50 islands and diverse wildlife, remains a hidden gem. Around the Volta Lake lies the Akwemu Gorge, with caves that once served as shelters for the Akwemu people. So when next you visit either the Volta region, the Sojaman district, or at anywhere that has the Volta Lake, make sure you visit the Adome Bridge. Now that we have the correct pronunciation, visit the Adome Bridge and its environs, and you would love it. You can also share with us your stories on Metro TV's various social media platforms, and then we would also share with our viewers. My name is Shadrach Odame Ejari.
A soldier man is still here. And in our Tidy GA series for today, residents of Glefe community within the Ablekuma West constituency of the Greater Accra region are calling on government to abolish the use of landfill sites in the country as waste disposal centers. They say this practice is negatively affecting their health.
The Glefe landfill site, which started as a refuse dumping site by residents some 4 years ago, has now developed into a landfill where refuse collected from adjoining communities and parts of the Greater Accra region by waste collectors are being deposited. The landfill site sits on the bank of a lagoon that connects smaller water bodies into the ocean, but has now been encroached by the landfill and other human activities, reducing the lagoon to a mere gutter.
This lagoon is called Jatakpo. As you can see right behind me, the lagoon has grown weeds, and right beside the lagoon is a heap of refuse, which has now become a landfill site where people deposit or dump refuse here. Residents have called on authorities to ensure that the place, which has now been converted into a landfill site, should be stopped.
The landfill breeds a lot of mosquitoes. When it rains, the place gets flooded with plastic waste from the dumping site. We will be glad if authorities can do something about the situation.
The dumping site is very troubling. Anytime it rains, it washes away plastic waste from the site to people's home. We would like authority to dredge the lagoon for us.
Meanwhile, Assembly member for this particular constituency is suggesting ways as to how the situation can be dealt with.
Now the place has been full of refuse already, and the other time the previous government came with a truck to come and demolish a Glefe site. But when they came, they have nowhere to park before dredging the gutter. So on their way coming, I saw they break some building while they're supposed not to break it. Make up our mind, if possible, we can even use the refuse to fill the site so that the machine can work on it and bring the refuse out. Otherwise, if we use the we use truck without filling the place, if you are coming, you can't do the job.
Any machine, man, youth need as a man follow. Man, I'm a follow. I'm a be youth in your man. I'm a Jimmy. I'm a billion again.
This landfill site was established by the youth of this community in order to serve as a source of livelihood for them. If authority want to collapse it, then they should construct a market as alternative source of livelihood.
As a baller dump.
Recent downpour really affected the residents of this particular area. I'm being told that the rain entered into people's houses with the refuse because the rain swept the refuse into people's homes. Reporting live for Metro Television, I'm Eko Sechisaki, Glefe, Accra.
All right, so we're taking a break now. That's how we're wrapping up the updates with respect to news here on Good Afternoon Ghana. I'm Desmond Okwekudan. So Bright, Nana Kwesi Ameni is standing by with the rest of the program. So Bright, over to you. Hello, Bright.
we'll still be here with you, right? We want to be looking at what exactly is happening concerning investigative journalist with Tiger PI, Anas, RMR, Anas. When we come back from the break, there is more. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us here on Good Afternoon.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matassa.
That's a cycle.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me Jidisa we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim Jom Kasan. You know saying? Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste. Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved. Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matassa.
That's a cycle.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me Jidisa we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim Jom Kasan. You know saying? Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste. Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Attention all farmers. Are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP, and Iricor brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafwajinkwa, and the Iricop with cocoa blends, palm blend, and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and Iricop organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Paying for your Showmax is easy. Just choose your preferred payment method from these easy and convenient options: MTN Momo, Visa or MasterCard, Showmax vouchers at DSTV or GoTV sales agents, or use a promo code. Enter your payment details and hit submit. Showmax. Pay easy, stream easy.
And yes, welcome back. Still live here on Good Afternoon Ghana, live on Metro TV, live on Facebook and YouTube at Metro TV Ghana. We are very active across all social media platforms on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on Instagram. Go on there, join the conversation. Let us know what you think anytime where the topics come in. But let's begin from the quarters of Tiger PI, where its leading investigative journalist Anas has been awarded an amount of $18 million as compensation in the case of defamation at the Superior Court of New Jersey in the U.S. A case between Anas and Kennedy, Japan, and another person who is a social media commentator. For now, take a look at what exactly happened there in the U.S. court.
Judgment comes after a lengthy legal battle stemming from alleged defamatory statements made by the defendants during a 2021 interview broadcast on social media. The lawsuit filed on May 17, 2022 in the Essex County Supreme Court accused Kennedy Japan and Frederick Asamoah of making false and damaging statements about Anas during an episode of the Daddy Fred Show, a popular online program targeting Ghanaian audience in the United States. The interview, which was streamed live on Facebook and other platforms, garnered over 29,000 views and contained several defamatory claims against Anas. Anas, an investigative journalist known for exposing corruption and human rights abuses, argued that the defendant's statements were part of a calculated effort to tarnish his reputation and discredit his work. The defamatory remarks included allegations that Anas was a criminal, a thief, and responsible for the murder of Ahmed Swale, an undercover journalist who worked with Anas on the explosive documentary Number 12. The late Swale was tragically murdered in January 2019, and no one has been convicted for the crime to date. The court document claimed that Kennedy Japan, during the interview, made several false statements.
So that exactly is what happened there in court when he was awarded the amount of money, $18 million. But the man in the picture, Anas has reacted with a video explaining what exactly this judgment means to him. He makes reference to a judge here in Ghana, Justice Ma, and how he believes he was treated during that first court case. Take a listen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I stand before you not just as a journalist, but as a witness to history, a child of Ghana's turbulent past, and a soldier in the fight for truth. Yesterday, in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Ejapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness. My story begins long before this moment. I was born at the 37 Military Barracks in Accra, the son of the soldier who served in an era where power belonged to those who wielded the gun. I grew up watching my nation transition from military rule to democracy, witnessing firsthand the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians yearning for justice, transparency, and accountability. When Ghana finally embraced democracy, I knew that safeguarding it required more than just laws. It needed the unyielding courage of those willing to hold power accountable. That is why I chose journalism, not as a career, but as a calling. Over the years, my team and I have exposed corruption at the highest levels, from the corridors of politics to the halls of justice. But in fighting the corrupt, one becomes a target. Mr. Japan, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the US court upheld truth. This case was not easy. Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Japan acted with reckless disregard. Regrettably, Ghana's justice system has not always lived up to the principles of fairness and impartiality. When I sued Mr. Japan in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him. This miscarriage of justice was later condemned by Supreme Court Justice Kolende, who rightly described it as a violent abuse of judicial authority. My fight has never been for personal gain, but for the soul of Ghana's democracy. This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced, truth cannot be buried, and those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm. To my legal team, Andrew Dehere Esquire, Arthur Womega Esquire, Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, and Odei Crow Esquire, I am forever grateful for your dedication to justice. And to my supporters in Ghana and around the world, your unwavering belief in the fight strengthens my resolve. The battle against corruption continues. We will name shame and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen. Thank you.
And there you have it. I mean, moments after the court ruling, Anas recorded this video and had it posted on his Facebook page with the social media handle, Anas. So you can actually go on there and find the video right there. But this here is a video of Kennedy Japan in an interaction with some people, some persons, expressing how he was going to make sure that Anas loses the case or shows his face in court during the court procedure, prior to the court hearing. Take a look.
I only made 5 man, Cashman, a big court, I did a tantanas with him. And then you can sky the guy will remove everything for everybody to see who announces. And yes, I'm a court to make up. But you know, I'm my interpretations are gone and need back up our only to cover the face. A quiet witness and all my testimony.
So to me, Enya Odika, you know, clearance. So
clearance from where?
From Mrakane, so with me, I say.
Court. I won't have a rough bar. Me a buff.
Also, so baby, be a cataway.
Make a me some of the force be ye and didn't want him. I mean, I can't live it. So, a mama and that's a point. So, on some master, that day they'll jail me. I'll beat the shit out of the guy and take that thing out. The guy will remove everything for everybody to see who announces. And yes, I'm a court to make up. But you know, I'm my interpretations are gone and need back up our only to cover the face. a quiet witness and all my testimony.
So to me, enya odika no nya clearance. So
clearance from where?
From Mraka ne chizo bit me ayesa.
Eba court. I won't have a rough bar. Me a rough.
Also so be baby akata we.
Me kata me say me the force be here dey no woni nim. Am ye dey me. So emrama anas kwan. Say on sham master ne mra that day they will jail me. I'll beat the shit out of the guy and take that thing out.
We apologize for the delay right there. Let's now bring what exactly the case were. According to Kennedy Japan, statement he made against Anas, that made him want to take the case all the way to the Superior Court in New Jersey. So let's take a look at what exactly the claims that were made by Kennedy Japan were. Support rights, and he is a legal analyst. He says on Friday, March 14, 2025, the jury returned a verdict in favor of the plaintiff, Anas Anas, and awarded 80 million damages against the defendant, Honorable Kennedy Ohene Ejapon. This was based on instructions of the trial judge to award actual and compensatory damages if the jury found the defendant guilty of defamation. Counsel for the defendant demanded a nullification of the trial on grounds that there was a mistrial. If you don't know what it is, I'm given that the jury did not abide by the direction of the judge. The judge indicated that trial was yet to conclude and adjourned the case to Tuesday, March 18, 2025, for the jury to consider the award of punitive damages only. Now, says on Tuesday, the jury reconvened to consider the award of punitive damages only. So during its deliberations on Tuesday, the jury sent a question to the judge which was read in open court. The jury indicated that it had already awarded 8 million for punitive damages on Friday, March 4, 2005. In effect, the jury awarded $5 million for actual damages, $5 million for compensatory damages, and $8 million for punitive damages, which was against instructions and procedure of the court. Now, consequently, counsel for the defendant moved for a mistrial. The judge realized that the error committed by the jury and accordingly discharged them. However, the judge indicated that he was not going to entertain oral motions for mistrial and instructed the defense to rather file a written motion for mistrial, which he will appropriately address. The judge has 30 days to rule on the mistrial. It is imperative to know that at the moment there is no verdict because the jury verdict was not entered as a decision of excess courts. So joining me right now on Zoom with a conversation with the writer of this piece who has explained to what exactly the issues of the court is, George Sapon. He's a legal analyst and is with us here this afternoon on the program. George, good afternoon. Welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana. George. Right, we are trying to get George Support on Zoom. What exactly this means? I mean, this is a lot of English. What exactly does it mean? Coming from George Support, who has been following the issue since its inception, a case between Anas and Kennedy or Henrik Japan on issues of defamation, claims made by him. One of the claims stated that he is a criminal and had already gone to jail. And so he's seen as a criminal and not worthy of any investigative work. And so we are trying to get George Sapon on Zoom for a conversation, and that's why we do that. We'll bring it to you. But let's also go back on our screens and look what exactly the claims that were made by Kennedy or Henry Japan really were. Take a look at this. Four statements made by Kennedy Japan. Number one says, claiming that Anas was a criminal who had been convicted of crimes in Ghana, alleging that Anas was behind the murder of Ahmed Swali, who we all know that was a member of the Tiger IP investigative team, whose case is still being pending. Just days ago, we told that one person who has been fingered as one of the, he's part of those who actually took Ahmed Swali's life. And the third one says, accusing Anas of being responsible for the deaths of multiple Chinese nationals in Ghana, stating that Anas was a thief. So four things right there, all claims made by Kennedy or Henry Japan against Anas, Armia Anas, claiming that Anas was a criminal who had been convicted of crimes in Ghana, alleging that Anas was behind the murder of Ahmed Swali, accusing Anas of being responsible for the deaths of multiple Chinese nationals in Ghana, and also stating that Anas was a thief. So let's go back again and take a look at what exactly and how exactly Anas reacted to the ruling by the court, giving him that amount of money in dollars, millions of dollars, I want to put it, in a ruling against Kennedy or Henry Japan and another commentator who is involved as well. Take a look.
Journalist, but as a witness to history, a child of Ghana's turbulent past, and a soldier in the fight for truth. Yesterday, in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Ejapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness. My story begins long before this moment. I was born at the 37 Military Barracks in Accra, the son of the soldier who served in an era where power belonged to those who wielded the gun. I grew up watching my nation transition from military rule to democracy, witnessing firsthand the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians yearning for justice, transparency, and accountability. When Ghana finally embraced democracy, I knew that safeguarding it required more than just laws. It needed the unyielding courage of those willing to hold power accountable. That is why I chose journalism, not as a career, but as a calling. Over the years, my team and I have exposed corruption at the highest levels, from the corridors of politics to the halls of justice. But in fighting the corrupt, one becomes a target. Mr. Japan, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the US court upheld truth. This case was not easy. Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Japan acted with reckless disregard. Regrettably, Ghana's justice system has not always lived up to the principles of fairness and impartiality. When I sued Mr. Japan in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him. This miscarriage of justice was later condemned by Supreme Court Justice Kolende, who rightly described it as a violent abuse of judicial authority. My fight has never been for personal gain, but for the soul of Ghana's democracy. This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced, truth cannot be buried, and those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm. To my legal team, Andrew Dehere Esquire, Arthur Womega Esquire, Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, and Odei Kro Esquire, I am forever grateful for your dedication to justice. And to my supporters in Ghana and around the world, your unwavering belief in the fight strengthens my resolve. The battle against corruption continues. We will name, shame, and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen. Thank you.
That was just after the hearing there by Anas Arimea. Let's now go on the phone lines and speak to George Sapon, who is a legal analyst. He's been following the issue. What exactly is happening? I mean, there are two sides to the story. One party says, listen, it's a ruling. The other party says, listen, it's only a hearing, awaiting the final ruling. What exactly is the issue? George Sapon, thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. What exactly is it? Is it a hearing or a ruling?
Good afternoon, Bright. I think that now that I'm told you have a lot of money, you should be looking for your brothers and you should be dashing as part of the plenty cash you have now. Anyway, good afternoon to your lovely and cherished listeners and viewers across the country.
Right, now, let's first clarify the issue here. There are two sides to the story. One party says it's a ruling. The other party says it's only a hearing, and we are awaiting the final ruling. Clarify this for me.
Okay, so I think it's important to delve into the nature of jury trials.
Right.
So let me just quickly run us through how jury trials look like. In a jury trial, you have a judge, and then you have a jury, whether it's a 7-member panel, 5-member panel, or an 8-member panel. In this instance, it was an 8-member panel. Now, what the judge is supposed to do is what we call a summing up. In the summing up, the judge will have to take the jury through all the processes, how they are supposed to assess the evidence before them, and any other critical issue of consideration. The judge is supposed to take them through all of that. So the judge will lay directives for them regards to the procedure, and all these things have to be grounded in law. When the judge is done with that, the final decision of whether or not the accused person is guilty rests with the jury and not the judge. And so the jury will return a verdict. When the jury returns a verdict, what happens then is that if there are no other issues of consideration, the court or the judge would have to enter that verdict as a decision or a judgment of the court. It is from that point that the matter becomes conclusive. Now, what we have in this scenario, like the learned Professor Kweku Asare put it rightly yesterday in a Facebook post, is that the jury has returned a verdict. And so the court is obliged to acknowledge the verdict that the jury has returned. As of this point, we do not have a judgment from the court because the court has not entered the decision of the jury or the verdict of the jury as the decision or the judgment of the court because of the issues surrounding the whole verdict and the application by the defense team. Now, if you permit me, I'll go into those issues as well.
Right.
Now, if you go through the expectations or the responsibility put on the jury by the whole jury system, the jury is expected to abide strictly by the directives that are issued by the judge. Now, there are three critical areas that the court was considering in regards to the whole case. The jury had one responsibility, first and foremost, to determine whether or not the accused person, which is the Honorable Kennedy Japan, is if the jury would make a decision to suggest that he was guilty of defamation. Now, the other thing that the court or the judge asked the jury to consider also is what will constitute actual damage, what they should consider what we call actual damage, and then also they should consider compensatory damage. The third issue that the court was going to consider was punitive damages. Now, the court was very direct in its directive to the jury that they should consider these two things, actual damages and compensatory damages. And so, last Tuesday, when the court reconvened to consider the issue of punitive damages, and mind you, punitive damages only come in when there are matters that are considered an aggravation whatsoever. So the court was going to consider that. On that score, or during that hearing, the jury now says to the judge that, oh, we already considered the matter of punitive damages, and that's the more reason why we arrived at the $18 million damages.
Right.
And so $5 million for actual damages, $5 million for compensatory damage, and $8 million for punitive damages. It was at this juncture that the defense attorney raised the case for mistrial, because one, the jury is supposed to go strictly by the directive of the judge, and so by considering the issue of punitive damages, it had deviated from a specific direction, which is one of the grounds for mistrial. So the judge acknowledged the fact that the defense counsel actually has the right to raise a mistrial, but what the judge indicated clearly was that he was not going to entertain an oral motion for a matter of mistrial, and that they should file written submissions to that effect. And so the judge indicated that when the written submissions are filed, he would deal with it appropriately. Now, per the laws of the United States, the judge has 30 days for it to consider the issue of mistrial, whether or not he would confirm the position of the defense counsel for Kennedy Japan. Now, even in the event that the judge does not confirm that position, the defense counsel also has the right to go to an appellate court for a review in the event that the decision by the court in regards to the mistrial is unfavorable.
Right.
If the court rules in favor of the defense, then that would mean that they may have to reconstitute the jury, and then there could also be the possibility of a retrial. Then again, the defense has also filed for a remediator, which means that if you are slapped by damages by a court and you feel that the damages are excessive in nature, you can go to the court with an application to have those damages reduced. That does not necessarily invalidate your application for a mistrial, so those two can exist simultaneously. So that is what the defense team has done. So on Monday, the defense filed the remediator, and on Tuesday, it filed the application for the mistrial. So right, that is where we are now.
George, but a quick one. I mean, I know by now you may have read a lot of blogs. I mean, main media and even some bloggers and all that. And the tagline we are hearing is, or we are reading is, awarded an amount of $18 million US for defamation. I mean, you've broken it down for us. You've told us how these monies were accumulated and all that. Is that the case, or we have to wait until a judge says this is really it? Since you are speaking of this coming in as a result of a jury sitting.
Okay, so I think that at this point we do not have a conclusive judgment from the court.
Right.
What we have now is a verdict of the jury. Now the jury has returned a verdict of $18 million damages against the defendant. when you have a verdict of the jury, it is not conclusive.
Right.
The court will necessarily have to enter that as a judgment of the court before it becomes conclusive. So as it stands now, Japan, who is the defendant, is not supposed to pay any money today as we speak, until the point where the court enters that verdict of the jury as a judgment of the court. Simplicity. So I think that some of the media houses have misinformed the audience by creating the impression that a jury verdict is conclusively a judgment of the court. That is not so. So the court will have to take steps to enter that as a judgment of the court before it becomes conclusive. But at this point, the court will necessarily have to deal with the issues pending before it in relation to the same case, which is the motion for mistrial. Now, the outcome of all these and the other application filed by the defense team for a reduction in the damages, all those things will play out in the final conclusion we'll have to the matter. But as we speak today, there is no conclusion to the matter. The matter has not ended. We do not have a judgment. What we have is a verdict of the jury.
Is that, could it be a case whereby probably after the judge sits on the issue, they could say, listen, I mean, the jury came out with an amount of $18 million US, but we see not to be the true reflection of the case, and so we are withdrawing it. And Kennedy, don't pay anything.
So there are a lot of possibilities around the issue. Okay, there is a possibility of a retrial. There is a possibility of, I mean, if there is a retrial, there will be a reconstitution of the jury. There is a possibility that the mistrial application will fail. If it fails, it means that the court would have to, if it fails and then the defense does not appeal at an appellate court, it means that the court will now come back, deal with the remediator application, which is for a reduction in the damages, and then we will have some conclusion to the matter. So there are a number of options available to the court based on how the specific facts, as we have come to know them, play out in court.
But it's not as if they can actually go back and say whatever that was given by the jury is wrong. You could only come to something like a reduction.
Okay, so the point is that when it comes to a case that is a jury matter, okay, the verdict lies only with the jury. The judge has no role to play in the verdict. The judge cannot determine for them whether they should call somebody guilty or otherwise. The judge cannot do that. You understand? So it is only the jury that has that right. The judge cannot unanimously vary which verdicts that the jury has brought. It is the sole prerogative of the jury. You understand? But if in the event that there is, let's say, a retrial, for instance, a new jury is constituted, and that new jury comes up with an entirely, let's say, different set of damages, or even goes ahead to say that the defendant is not guilty, then that would hold until maybe another appeal or whatsoever is done.
All right, George Sapon, thank you so much for speaking to us. But I'm just wondering, I mean, when we go on there are lots of blogs that are saying that it's a final ruling, in as much as the court is awarding $18 million to Anas for the defamation issues he sent there, and versus Kennedy Japan. It's not the final ruling, like George is just saying. A judge needs to sit on the case and also assess whatever reports that be given to them by the jury before they can actually say, yes, we are giving or awarding or sending $18 million in the account of Anas Armiana. So those of you who have his phone numbers and are calling for your piece of it, please. The money is not in yet, so relax. And I've been speaking to George Sapon. Before I go, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, I think that what I would want to say is that our media friends should help us such that when such matters come up, they take time, get to know the fine details so that we can better educate our people. Because if you read some of the commentary online, it looks pretty much not too informed based on the facts and the position of law. So I think that it will be good that our media friends do the necessary research and consultation so that they can better educate us, the audience, in some of these matters.
Right. George Sapon is a legal analyst who has been speaking to us on what exactly is happening in the U.S., the case between them. But George, you see, another thing too is that someone will ask, why is it that this isn't the final ruling, but we are having a nurse come out and say thank you to his supporters and all that? Is that not also him also painting the picture as if it's the final ruling and he's been given $80 million?
Okay, so I think that, I mean, we both know that there is always a court of competent jurisdiction, and then there's a court of public opinion. As for the court of public opinion, if you run there first and you're able to tell your story and you add the appropriate sentiments to it, you are likely to have people move along with you. You understand? I'm sure the plaintiff himself knows that the verdict of the jury is not conclusive until the court adopts him as a judgment of the court. I'm sure he knows that too. I'm sure his team, his legal team, have duly notified him. But you know, aside the fact that this is happening in court, there is also the subtle undertones around the whole issue, and you can't downplay those issues as well. So sometimes those things can take precedence over what is actually happening in court. But whichever undertones that may be, whether political or otherwise, those things do not in any way affect what is happening in court, but can shape certain narratives around how people tend to either understand the issues or are inclined to comment in a certain way. And we see that a lot in our Ghanaian landscape.
Right, George Sapon, thank you so much for your time here on Good Afternoon Ghana. I mean, breaking it down for us. So yes, as you go out there, please be mindful of what you say. If you make a post on social media, don't go saying that it's a final ruling. It's only a verdict from the jury, and we await a judge to give a final ruling as to whether the $80 million will really be his account or not. Let's see. Tell us what is happening on social media. I know by now people are eagerly talking on social media. People are excited that there's an $80 million going to these accounts. What exactly is happening on social media?
Well, definitely, a lot of people are talking about this particular development. Of course, it's one of the keen ones that everybody has been following. Also knowing that it went to the Ghanaian court earlier, and now it's going to the U.S. court. A lot of questions also being asked about how a situation in Ghana, a case in Ghana, can be taken out of the jurisdiction and goes to the U.S. for a jury to sit on there. There's a hearing, and then we'll await the final ruling from the judge. But let's see what people have been saying on X yesterday. A lot of people reacting to this development. So you see that on the screen very, very soon. Some people chastising the judicial system in the country, saying that why is it that this case did not go as it has gone now when he took it to the Ghanaian court. And you heard Anas reacting to the video, talking about some of the justices who sat on the case and how they brushed aside the whole story. So let's get into it. So Public IGH says that it's such a shame that we can't get justice in our own country. We have to go abroad to ensure. Okay, so you have that coming back on there, but definitely a lot of people not really enthusiastic about the fact that the issue or the case was taken out of Ghana, gone back to the States. So okay, I think it's back on here. All right, this one says that they should tell everyone in Ghana never to trust our justice system as it is controlled by some politicians. 90% of the judges and lawyers all work for some political parties. That's Rocky saying that. Well,
I just want us to be a bit careful.
No, of course. So these are statements by Rocky AJ. And for us, as Metro TV, as a show, we alienate ourselves.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying earlier. That you see, let's not forget that. So the issue in court is not just against Kennedy.
Yes.
It's also against another person who is a social commentator who was talking about the issue.
Yes. So we need to be very careful.
Exactly. You might just think you are just making just showing your views or opinions. Yeah. But you never know how long or how far it may go.
You just have to be circumspect.
Just be careful, please.
Yeah.
Understand the issue before you talk about it.
Be careful of what you write on there. So that's from Rocky AJ there. We're moving on to the next one. This one says that it's interesting to see how legal battles play out across different jurisdictions. the contrast between judicial systems like Ghana's and the US sparks important conversations about accountability. Hopefully, this serves as a reminder that actions have consequences. So that's a very important reminder there, that whatever that you do, there are consequences to that. And so that's Simon writing that on X. We're moving on to the next one. It says that justice delivered. The system is working 247.
Not yet. Relax. You guys are, you are jumping the gun. Relax.
When I see things like, of course, I mean, we love it when justice is served. But sometimes they say that the rules of justice are really slow sometimes. But there are also people in America who believe that their justice system is not so cool.
Yeah.
You get it.
As we speak, there's a huge silent demonstration about every single statue of George Floyd mounted in the US. Because according to people, we are celebrating somebody who was a felony, somebody who was, yes. And because we saw him being attacked by white police personnel, we now say he's a hero.
Yeah.
So the issue may be different, and the background may also be different.
Yeah, definitely. And so we need to be very careful. People in the US, I mean, I'm sure some people have gone to court in the US who have been, we've watched a lot of that. You know, I've watched a lot of things like that on YouTube, where you have people on the news, when you have people who have been put in jail, wrongfully over a long period of time, and then when they come out, they even criticize the justice system. So it's very interesting that with this, people are saying that the system is working 247. Well, we'll see how it goes. Let's move on to the next one. So that's from Kofi Figures. I'm writing that on X. This one says that it highlights a stark contrast between Ghana's judiciary and the US legal system. While Ghanaian courts seem to dismiss Anansa's case or downplay its significance, the US court took it seriously, thoroughly examined the evidence and ruled in his favor. And yet again, we'll just bring this to the notice of our viewers and everybody who's watching that, as we heard from the analyst, this is by the jury.
Yeah.
And that is something that in Ghana, I don't think that the jury system is one that we do a lot here. But if you go to the States, the jury system is a very, very important system. It's part of the judiciary in the States, right? So let's just be careful. It is the jury that have given their verdict. Their verdict. Now, as you have it, the judge will now go through the verdict and see how this will actually play out. And so we'll wait and see.
So just imagine if a judge comes in and says, "I think $18 million is small."
I think I've also seen a video. As we played in court there, where the judge was reading how the $18 million, the breakdown of it and all of that. So that's why I get people confused that, the judge has given the ruling, but you see also that the jury was moving out of the room and being thanked, the beginning of that video. So wait and see how that pans out. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think there's another one there.
Oh, this one says that this shows how politics has destroyed our legal system in Ghana and the country as a whole. There's no future in Ghana, sadly. There's a future here.
Come on, you guys.
Let's not be too hard. There's a future here in our country.
Relax. So please, as you go out there and try to make sense of whatever you understand, be careful that you're not making the wrong statements. You never know who is watching or who is even reading your post on social media. I'm telling you, one of the other gentlemen who has also been sued together with Kennedy Japan is only a show commentator. So just be careful out there. Probably you may just want to bring back the breakdown of the $80 million and what exactly it means, from the judge.
Yeah, the video from the judge.
Maybe we can just take a quick video. They look at the slide from George Sapon, explain to us what exactly the breakdown of the $18 million really is. But let me ask you, as our former editor would say, as a journalist. Good afternoon to you, write it down for. As a journalist, if let's say you awarded it with $18 million, Desi, what would be the first thing you do with the money?
$18 million.
Yes, $18 million.
Yeah, that's tight. We'll give.
Right, what? Let me not talk plenty. Let's go for a quick break.
Yes.
Before we come back, we'll be looking at other issues. One, HIV drugs are in shortage across Africa. We don't know the situation here in Ghana, but we may just be affected because of the whole aid being pulled away by the U.S. government. By countries like Lesotho, Kenya, and some other places, they are suffering it already. What exactly are the plans? Remember, during the budget statement in Parliament, Castle Atoba Force and Dr. Castle Atoba Force, who is the finance minister, stated that there's going to be some money to help bridge the gap, so we don't feel the pain of the aid being taken away by the U.S. government. But how exactly would it help us? And also, issue with job for the youth in Ghana, moving to abroad to seek for better lives. Visibility, should we allow it to continue on? We'll tell you more about that after this break. Don't go nowhere. Still, good afternoon, Ghana. I am Bryce and Akwesi. We are back with more. Stay with us.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and Iricop brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the Iricop with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and Iricop organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV.
Yeah.
GoTV. Love it.
We really appreciate your time with us here on Good Afternoon, Ghana. Welcome back. We're live. PF Bastilus at Rage Shade across the Queer Boy Mass Studio. Let's now concentrate on some other issues. First is the labor. Now, the Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment, in partnership with the Youth Employment Agency with GIZ, Ghana have launched the Ghana Work Abroad program, an initiative designed to offer Ghanaian youth with global employment opportunities. Speaking during the launch, Sector Minister Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpu noted that the move underscores government's unwavering commitment to tackle youth unemployment. Take a look at this.
Abroad program aims to create a safe, legal and productive pathway for the youth by expanding access to global opportunities. The initiative features an open registration process via a dedicated online platform which will be publicized to ensure transparency and efficiency. Eligible candidates will be selected based on a criteria and will be provided with the necessary training and deployed to their designated countries under well-monitored agreements. Speaking at the launch, Chief Executive of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basintale, called on various stakeholders and the private sector to support his outfit in order to ensure sustainability of the program.
The YEA is instituting a comprehensive reintegration and community impact program that will ensure that when our workers go, they shall return home. And when they return home, we shall tap into their skills, their experiences, their financial resources to reinvest in Ghana's development.
Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment, Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo, asserted that the Work Abroad program will serve as a vehicle for sustainable growth while generating remittance that will contribute significantly to the nation's development.
The Ghana Work Abroad program is a bold step towards establishing safer legal pathways for employment abroad, which will safeguard the rights and welfare of the Ghanaian migrant worker and also reinforce our national commitments to ethical and responsible labor mobility. I have said that in this regime, in my period as a minister, we will not tolerate any situation where Ghanaian workers will go abroad and working and be punished for going there to work. We want to see absolute respect for the Ghanaian industry, the Ghanaian person, the Ghanaian youth who goes out there to explore the world and to commit himself to the welfare of the country they are working for.
The Work Abroad program was launched in Accra under the theme Opportunities Beyond Borders. The Youth Employment Agency will oversee the registration and training of selected applicants.
And there you have the report right there, filed by my colleague Ekuya Ababio. Now, let's pick some expeditions on the subjects of solving unemployment and the initiative of the central government to help fix the issue. And joining me via Zoom is Labour expert Austin Gummy for a conversation. Thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. And apologies for the longer wait online. First of all, how can this program benefit workers, employers, and the economy as a whole? Hello, Austin Gummy. Right, and Labour expert Austin Gummy is joining me live on Zoom for a conversation. What exactly he makes of this? Government together with GIZ have launched Working Abroad for Ghanaian Youth and Employees. What exactly is it going to be like? How will it help Ghana, as a whole and all that? And Austin Gummy is on Zoom for a conversation. Austin, if you can kindly hear me, first of all, apologies for having to wait online for a while. But how exactly do you think this will help Ghanaians, especially workers and the country as a whole? Kindly unmute. I can't tell you here from my studio, so please unmute. Let's have a conversation. All right, I'm still struggling to hear you here, so we are going to address that issue and come back to you. But you can see him on your screen. Austin Gummy is a Labour expert. He's a non-face on Metro TV. We speak to him on every single issue concerning Labour here in Ghana, and he joined us on Zoom after we just saw a video of YE boss Malik Basintale together with Honorable Rashid Pelpo, who were together with the GIZ, launched Working Abroad for Ghanaians who want to go and work abroad and come back, seek some, understanding and education on their field of work, come back and help improve the economy and the workforce here in the country. How do we want to do this? Is government even doing it right? What if somebody goes and gets missing? Remember the issue of some sportsmen who went abroad for sports programs and never came back? How is the tracker going to be like? What should we expect as Ghanaians and as a people? And that is why we have on Zoom now Austin Gummy, who I believe is adjusting the issues of sound and will join us back again for a conversation on the matter. But don't forget, we are live on Facebook and YouTube at Metro TV Ghana, also on Twitter and on Instagram at Metro TV GH. I've been told we are switching from Zoom to phone for a conversation. Austin, once again, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Thank you so much for waiting. Now, first of all, how will this benefit or affect Ghanaians, the workforce?
Thank you, right. I think this is long overdue. Our labor law is very clear as to the level of transparency that should be exercised both by the agencies, especially that of Labor Department, in listing those who are seeking to work within and even without. If the ministry and that of Foreign Affairs will collaborate as expected, yes, our people who will be going out would always have to find ways and means of getting agreements between them and their prospective employers properly scrutinized and supported by the ministry before they go. Right. Except you have your own arrangement in a way that you do not need the help of Ghana government. But eventually when you get there, our ambassadors are there. When there is a situation coming up, you certainly need help. So it makes sense and very helpful and timely that this arrangement is being considered to be formalized so that people can have assurance and guarantee that when they go out, they are protected, whether it is in Saudi Arabia, whether it's in the US, or whether it's in Canada. It's about ensuring that you are protected and your rights are met.
Right, but then how do government programs for working abroad address labor issues here in the country?
Well, certainly we have hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of Ghanaians outside working now. I've traveled far and near. I've always met Ghanaians wherever I go. And our president just returned also from Sierra Leone, and he met Ghanaians in Sierra Leone. So clearly, our people are always out there working, right. Just as we have a number of people from other countries working in Ghana. So it's always been like that. And if you consider migration and related matters, which is often written on by the ILO, we know that there will always be migration of people from one end to the other. So yes, it will help ensure that people who have certain skills and who have the capacity to work by certain criteria set by prospective employers outside, and you meet it. If you have an agreement on basis of which you will travel to go and work there, it's a lot more protected. And then, of course, the few jobs that are open to us here can always also be available for those who do not want to go out, and they'll be able to get jobs to do. But I think we have plenty of jobs here in Ghana. It's just because we are not properly having the data, and I'm sure that the ministry is working towards ensuring that we have records of these things, virtually every quarter, if we can update it. That's what our labor law requires us to do. We didn't do it, and if now we want to move to do it, let's do it quickly. I think that will be it.
You know, having your people leave your shores to go to a different country to go and probably learn and all that, remittances, skills, transfer of knowledge and all that. What sort of impact are we to expect?
It's huge. It's huge. I was at Virgin Island University, where I was teaching mediation for the faculty there, and I met a number of Ghanaians far away there in Virgin Islands University. Clearly, our people are dotted all over the place. They do remittances. Some of them, when they return, they pay their offerings. Some of them pay their taxes if they want to. Clearly, that is what it is. But now, if we formalize it, people may be willing to do a lot more than we have been doing. And people can acquire other skills also.
Right.
And the working culture, because here in Ghana, we have a very deep-seated problem of poor productivity. But when we go out, we are always said to be in the best of, desire to work for our employers. We must bring back the same culture of working, no matter how it is. So it's a good thing to go, only that you have to go properly so you don't become victim of circumstances.
Right. So how do these programs also align with the national development strategies, or one for a better way, international labor standards?
Well, labor standards are a set of criteria that many countries have signed on to. Ghana to have signed part of the conventions from the ILO. And our labor law is very, very handsome to the extent that really, if we are to operationalize it, we don't have any qualms whatsoever. So yes, standards will have to be upheld. And like I said, it helps people to learn other skills and also to learn other cultures that are beneficial, not unbeneficial. If you go there and you learn certain attitudes that may not be helpful to you and your family, well, that becomes another thing altogether. But if you learn the right one and you add value to who you are before you left, you come back rich, and the country will benefit as well. Well, we have a set of standards in Ghana here that are one of the best in the world. It's only that we are unable to take advantage of it and ensure that we implement it properly. But I think with the collaborative spirit going on in Ghana now, we should be able to have it done.
Let's now speak of measures to put in place to ensure that government protect the rights and welfare of these workers participating in the government programs for working abroad.
Yes, to be honest with you, even the previous administration sent some of our precious nurses to Barbados, and there are so many Ghanaian nurses in other countries, and they are protected because they went through Ghana government agreed arrangement. When I was in office, people who wanted to go to other countries, some of them, we stopped them because the contract is still shrouded in some kind of unclear terms, and therefore we convinced the people not to go, and they didn't go. It turned out to be good for them. So if you are going through Ghana government arrangement, the understanding is that before you even get there, what it means that our embassy in that jurisdiction would have been seized with information concerning you, and therefore you are registered. Should there be any concern, they will be on hand to help you. And I think the government seems poised to be doing that. But we'll be needing in Ghana here soon a reasonable number of skilled labor force, provided they are willing to work productively under the 24-hour economy arrangements. And I strongly believe that if the leadership that is required is provided the way it is anticipated, very soon we'll have a number of jobs that people may not need to go outside, except you still want to go and make your trial somewhere and see the world at the other side.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful.
I'm grateful too.
And Austin Gami is labor expert. We'll be speaking to him about working abroad program launched by YEA and JIZ together with the Ministry of Labor, led by Honorable Rashid Pilpo. We're still live here on Good Afternoon Ghana. A quick 10. We'll be back with one last more conversation on the HIV and the drugs.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution to fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV.
Yeah.
GoTV. Love it.
Welcome back. We're still live here on Good Afternoon Ghana live on Metro TV. Now, in 8 countries, 6 of them in Africa, including Nigeria, Kenya, and Lesotho, could soon run out of HIV drugs following the U.S. government's recent decision to pause foreign aid. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the freeze on his first day in office in January as part of a review into government spending. Director General of the World Health Organization, in a statement, said Nigeria, Kenya, Lesotho, South Sudan, Burkina Faso, and Mali, as well as Haiti and Ukraine, would run out of life-saving antiretroviral AVR medicines in the coming months. What exactly are we doing as Ghanaians to ensure we don't get on this list? Even if we get there, how are we going to fix the issues? And the president of the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, Ernest Amwabin, has joined me on Zoom for a conversation on this matter. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program. If you can kindly unmute for a conversation, are we having a similar challenge as Nigeria and Kenya? Right. My first question is, are we having a similar challenge as Nigeria and Kenya?
Okay, so a very good afternoon to you.
Okay, I still can't.
At the moment,
we are going to try and figure this out and come back to you, but kindly try and... Right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So my question I asked was, are we facing similar challenge as Nigeria and Kenya when it comes to the shortage of antiretroviral drugs?
Okay, so presently we are not facing the same situation, but there is a real danger that we could find ourselves in that same situation very soon if we don't take steps to avoid us getting there.
But in our opinion, are we seeing an increase of decline in new infection rates? Because I recall the numbers you gave in 2024. I mean, the first quarter of the year was a bit scary. Over 34,000 people affected with the virus. I stand to be corrected.
Yes. So the 34,000 was the first 9 months of 2024.
Right.
We are still waiting for data for 2025 for us to see where we are. But definitely the figures are going up. If you look at the data that is being collected now, even though they have not been fully aggregated, I can tell you that our numbers are going up in a very alarming manner.
Are you able to provide me with the figures, probably region by region, just to know the situation there? And which of these regions are suffering this the most?
Well, at this point, for me, what is most critical is that we have a very generalized epidemic, and almost all the regions, with the exception of a few of them, but regions like Greater Accra, Eastern, Ashanti, and then the Bono areas, these are the areas where we have the largest concentration of persons living with HIV. So definitely these are the regions with the highest numbers of HIV and AIDS cases.
Now, the government says it is working to address the funding gap created by the USAID freeze. What exactly do you have to say about that? I mean, we had the finance minister during the budget read in Parliament stated the amount of money allocated to that.
Yes, we were happy to see that amount allocated. The only difficulty is that, the amount was mentioned in one composite figure, and it comes along with the NHIA on capping. It comes along with the Mahama care intervention and other health-related areas. So we're not too sure how much of it is specifically allocated for HIV and AIDS. We need the government to give us a breakdown. One of the things we have been saying all this while is that we need to have the National HIV and AIDS Fund. That is what can provide some security in terms of resources for us to be able to buy medications when we find ourselves in situations such as this. So we have been advocating for the full operationalization of the National HIV and AIDS Fund. And I think this is the most opportune time for government to establish this fund so that there will be some dedicated resources to help us. Because what is happening in Nigeria and Kenya and Lesotho and other countries is a real danger.
Right.
Because the thing with treatment is that when you are on treatment and you go off treatment, you develop resistance against the virus, against the medication you are taking. So even when you come back to treatment, we have to change the medication for you. And that is very costly. So this is a time for us to ensure that we prevent ourselves from getting into the Kenyan-Nigerian situation. We are very fortunate at the moment because our ARVs are not directly coming from the USAID funding. We are under Global Fund. But then the Global Fund also receives funding from the US government. So eventually, we're going to be hit the same way.
Now, if the president should today call you and ask you how much money Ghana would need to alleviate such menace, as you put it, how much are we looking at?
So that as per the modeling the Ghana AIDS Commission has done, they have stated that we need not less than $100 million for the next 5 years.
Did I hear you say $100 million?
Yes, $100 million. If we are going to effectively deal with the situation. They have a strategic plan, and for us to fund that particular plan for the next 5 years, that's the kind of amount of money that we're going to need to address the resources. It doesn't mean that we need to find $100 million immediately, but over a period of time, 5 years, that's the kind of amount of money we need to be able to sustain the gains that we have made in the fight. Because our prevalence now is around 1.53. If we push harder, we can reduce it even further. But with what is happening, it looks like we may get to rest on our oars, and before we realize, as I told you, new cases are coming up, and in the next couple of years, this thing could get out of hand if we don't really tackle it seriously.
So out of the box, how are we ensuring that in our own small ways, raise funds to help in education and even drugs and all that?
So at the moment, as I mentioned, it is the Global Fund that is supporting us. But we have been talking to government, and we have been telling government that we need to have the AIDS Fund. I believe that if we are able to establish the AIDS Fund immediately, we'll be able to generate some resources to wage a very strong campaign. Because, we now have a new cohort of young people who didn't experience the HIV and AIDS campaign some decade or two ago. So these young people do not understand the HIV and AIDS disease at all. And many of them are living their lives quite recklessly. We've heard of an increase in the incidence of hookups. We've heard of increases in sex parties, orgies being organized all over the place.
There are sex parties.
There's a recent report from yes, there are sex parties all over the place. There are recent reports to suggest that condom usage is on the lower side, and all of this is putting young people at risk. And you can't blame them because they don't even understand the disease, because we've stopped talking about HIV and AIDS in schools. We are no longer doing the market activations, the churches, mosques, lorry stations. We've stopped all of that. So the younger generation, they simply don't understand what HIV is about. And that is what is fueling the new infections. So we need to resource the Ghana AIDS Commission so the Ghana AIDS Commission can work with NGOs for us to ensure that we keep with a global commitment to end the menace by 2030. There are new interventions that are coming up, like pre-exposure prophylaxis that are coming up, and we need to intensify our interventions so that we can actually prevent new infections from taking place.
As we speak of getting funds to help fight shortage of drugs, in terms of education, what level is it when you speak of community engagement?
So at the moment, if you ask me, on a scale of 0 to 10, I would tell you we are around 3.
3?
Yes, because we are virtually doing very little in terms of community education, in terms of community engagement. Ghana, for example, at the moment, we are implementing some community-based projects with regard to HIV self-testing. But out of the 261 districts we have in the country, we are working in only 75 districts. So we're not covering all the districts. We're covering just about 75 districts. That's just less than 1/3 of the districts that we have in the country. So we are really not doing much at the present time.
I remember back in primary school, sometimes you see some of these advocates come in class and speak to us about.
Exactly. Now all of that has stopped because there are no resources to sustain that kind of campaign. So we used to have the school alerts clubs and all of those things, but they've all stopped because there are no resources to sustain them. And that is what is causing all these new infections that we are seeing.
Have we also explored? Okay, kindly finish.
Yes, I was saying that is what is fueling the new infections, especially among new especially among young people.
Have we also explored the alternative of having to get volunteers who may want to, out of their own goodwill, we want to go out there and educate people on the use of protective gears like condoms and all that?
Oh, we do that a lot. Ghana, we do that a lot. I told you we are in 75 districts at the moment. And in all these districts, we have volunteers who go around and do the education. The network of persons living with HIV, they also have their own volunteers who also go into the communities to do education. But the point is that even if you're not going to pay these persons salaries, at least you have to pay their TNT. When they go, they'll drink at least water. You need to give them water.
Right.
You know, some snacks. But we don't have the funds to support all of that. So that is really the challenge we have at the present time.
Right. Thank you so much for this conversation. Hopefully we get to do this often, in a move to educate Ghanaians. So we don't get to that.
Level. So we are just hoping that the Minister of Finance will put the figures together and let us know how much is being committed to the fight against HIV and AIDS.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I've been speaking to Ernest Amwabing, who is the president of the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network. And quite disturbing. You mentioned there, as at last year, first quarter of 2024, about 34,000 people had been recorded as positive from the HIV virus. Hopefully, we are able to fix it. And as it was stated in Parliament by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kassel Atuban-Forsen, money has been, set aside for health in a move to fix the gap created by the cut of the USAID, as we all heard from the now President Donald Trump in the US. So thank you so much for watching Good Afternoon Ghana. We began the show here at exactly 12, where Desmond Kwekudaso was here with the news around the country. And later, we also gave you the latest on the Anas case versus Kennedy Japan. I've been told to be careful as to what exactly we make or we talk about concerning the hearing. It's not a final ruling yet. It's only an outcome of a jury and a request of an $18 million to be given to the defendants in the person of Anas Aramia Anas. So don't go out there saying it's a ruling. Until the judge makes some pronouncement, we are still hanging in there. And so this has been Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Bryce and Akwesiamenin. Until next time, have a good afternoon and bye.
Metro TV presents a new dating reality show.
Tell me, what's the favorite part of my body, and can you describe it with that word?
Table of Love.
Do you have what it takes to make it to the table of love?
My first heartbreak. Let me tell you. So I went somewhere to sit, and I met goats chewing grass. I sat right in front of the goat and I asked it, have you ever felt heartbroken before?
Touching, romancing, you take me there, I take you there.
If you expect me to be an angel in your life, you must first create heaven for me. Angels don't live in hell.
Many girls say touching when you kiss me on the forehead, please. For me, when money touches my palm, I become so wet.
Watch out for Cook Africa Season 2 coming to Metro TV with Ahiniwa. This time around, we are coming with some surprises, prizes, and of course, it's Ghana Month. So watch out for some local delicacies on Cook Africa with your favorite Ahiniwa.